everyone, and welcome to Jack and Cat Adventures. Today we're going to be making peach cobbler scones. There's a lot of steps, but it's easy, so don't be intimidated. I'm going to walk you through the whole thing, and you're going to have scones like the bakery, okay? So in a large bowl, you're going to need 2.5 cups of flour. You don't want to push down too hard, just fill in the cup. You know how to do it. Alright, that's a half. 1 tablespoon of baking powder. This is going to give it the rise that we want. And you want to make sure that your ingredients that we're going to be doing in the next bowl are very, very cold. So like I put my butter in the freezer overnight because I was going to make them yesterday, but I forgot. But I want that cold of butter because we're going to grate it and then we're going to mix it with our hands. And our hands are really warm, but that butter that's grated into it, and if the butter stays cold, it gives it that buttery layers of flakiness and just a great mouth feel, okay? So we have our baking powder, 2 tablespoons of sugar, half a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to cut mine down to 1/4 because I am using salted butter. If you're not using salted butter, go ahead and use the whole teaspoon, or half a teaspoon, I'm sorry. Half a teaspoon of cinnamon.
Or more if you like more.
Yeah, I don't even worry about the cinnamon. Now we're going to mix this all together with a whisk. And then we'll move on to the next ingredients. Forgot a 1/4 cup of packed brown sugar. Mix it in with your dry ingredients.
That was almost an oopsie.
I had it measured out. I would have seen it. I did see it, that's why. Alright, we're going to put the dry ingredients to the side right now. And now we're going to do our butter. Now remember, this butter has to be very, very cold. Love this grater if you want to purchase one. I got it on Amazon. And you're going to need 12 tablespoons of grated cold butter. This grater works great for this butter. You're going to need 1 cup of buttermilk. And you, like I said, I'm keeping everything in the refrigerator until the last minute, so that way everything's cold. Make sure you shake your buttermilk really well. Alright, so we need 1 cup of buttermilk. We're going to need 1 egg, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 1 cup of chopped peaches. I showed you on a previous video, and we'll link it below, how to blanch your peaches, peel them and cut them, and put them in the freezer for later. So that'll be on a separate video, but it's really easy, and that's what I did with these yesterday. I ran out of time to make the scones yesterday because I was doing tons of peaches. But you're going to need 1 cup of chopped peaches, and I chopped them and put them in with a little bit of lemon juice to keep them from browning. Okay. And the reason you don't want to handle this too much is, like I said, your hands are really hot. right, to your 12 tablespoons of cold grated butter, we're going to add 1 cup of buttermilk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 1 egg. I put my egg in my milk and I whisked it together.
That's because the first one she threw on the floor.
Yeah, sure I did. I made Jack do some work finally.
She's killing me, man. She's killing me.
All right, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I'm using vanilla paste. Add just a little bit extra.
Because we're bougie like that.
Because I measure with my heart. You should get all of it out. Okay, finger real quick. All right, now we're going to mix this together. And then we're going to put it in our dry ingredients.
Is that all your butter and everything in there?
Yep. Everything in
Seasoned
here.
Butter.
Let me get.
I think they have you do that just to make more messes.
Now make sure your oven is preheated to 350 degrees before you even start. That way you can put this in really cold. Alright, we're going to mix this just until it's combined. I am using, I think this is called the Swedish dough hook. I love it for breads and kind of doughy things like these scones because you mix it all in really well, really quick. I think I got this on Amazon too. I'm not sure. Had it for a long time. Mix until all that flour is mixed in. Almost there.
That makes like a real shaggy dough.
Yeah, it should be sticky, but not so sticky that you can't handle it at all. If it feels too dry, add a little more buttermilk. If it feels too wet, add just a little bit of flour at a time and bring it back up to a good consistency. I think mine is perfect. It's not like real dry and it's not real wet.
I'll wait till you get the peaches added.
That's part of it, yeah. Okay, I'm just going to clean this off. Alright, now you're going to put in your 1 cup of peaches that you've diced really small. And we're just going to fold that in now. So fold in from the bottom to the middle, bottom to the top. And this is where you're going to see if you can handle your dough. If your peaches are really wet, you probably might need to add a little more flour. But I think my dough looks like it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad.
Look, yeah, it's supposed to be just sticky on the hands. And it smells amazing.
Of course it does.
Alright, I don't want to overmix this, so I'm going to call it. Alright, so you got a lined parchment paper here. You're going to take your dough, you're going to put it into the middle of that parchment paper. As well as you can. Okay. Make sure you get it all out. Don't want to waste anything. Okay, now you're going to make that into a circle. And I'm wearing gloves only because I don't like to touch the dough. I don't like that feeling on my hands. But if you don't want to worry about that, then go ahead and just use your bare hands. Okay, so you're going to want it really as even as you can get it. So kind of push the dough around. And like I said, this is the way you want it. Just a little bit wet. That looks pretty even to me. How about you, Jack?
Yep.
Okay. Now, we're going to take our cutter, we're going to cut this like a pizza. You can do 8 pieces. Just do like this, and then like this, and then cut them again. And you don't want to move them, just leave them where they're at. Alright, now, let me just clean this off. And I'm going to move on to the next step. You need 1 tablespoon of butter, and we're going to melt that. Let me see what else we need. This is for the crumble on top. 2 tablespoons of flour and 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Alright, that's melted enough. Alright. So let's do 2 tablespoons of flour. Two tablespoons of brown sugar. Okay. Now we mix this around. Okay, not very much here. Okay.
The OCD's kicking in.
I just want to make sure every piece has enough on it.
I know what's going on in that pretty little head of yours.
Yeah, just put this on however you want.
As long as you get some in every bite.
You may need to make a little bit more. I'm thinking we do, because I barely have any left, but we'll see. I made the scones before, but I've never done the crumb on top of them. So I wasn't sure how much we needed. Well, yeah, we're going to need more. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm going to make a little bit more. Alright, these are going in your preheated 350-degree oven for 20 to 25 minutes or until the edges are golden brown. And those cut marks will help you cut it really nicely after they bake. Don't worry, they'll be fine. Alright, a few things. I would probably start these out, instead of at 350, at 400. Because when I started it out at 350, usually they'll rise real fast and the butter will stay in. At 350, my butter was all over the pan. I was a little worried. I did let it go the full 25 minutes at 350, and then I turned it up to 400, and I did an additional 7 minutes to get them nice and golden brown and nice on the bottom. There was a lot of butter, and they kind of looked like they spread, okay, like you didn't cut them. What we did was we cut them on the tray that we put in the oven, and then we lifted them off with a spatula and put them on clean parchment under a cooling rack, and I let them cool that way, okay? And Jack says they're phenomenal, so it worked out. I would just start at 400, and I would probably go 10 minutes at 400 and check them every like 3 minutes so that they don't burn. But you want that hot heat to make that butter and the water and the butter steam out and rise, okay? So now for the glaze, it's a half a cup of powdered sugar, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, half a teaspoon of vanilla paste. If you don't have paste, just use regular vanilla. And 1 to 3 tablespoons of milk. I used 1.5 tablespoons and I thought mine was fine. All you're going to do is quickly go around and drizzle them. Just like so.
Guys, just be lucky she didn't get out her drizzle spoon for this.
Ah, I forgot about my drizzle spoon.
I knew she did.
Alright. And like I said, just make sure all of your ingredients are super cold, okay? So there you have it. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And remember, you do you.
Thank you.